Both HR and finance leaders function really well when the CEO trusts them, shares with them where they want to go, and then kind of leaves them alone to do their bit and only looks at the outputs. What happens is you come in, you say, I want to do this. I want to double our sales. Finance person will come and build a model and blah, blah, blah. And on the other side, now you want to be able to track your sales and see if you're getting there. Similarly, to double your sales, you probably need to double your sales team. I mean, if it's a linear relationship. You also want to track if your sales team is doubling and if the impact of your plan is actually occurring. Sadly, this doesn't happen as frequently because, again, speaking to a ton of finance people, sometimes they don't know what the CEO is trying to do, right? Fully. Like, I mean, they know, like, they explain it like a 70, 80%. But if they were given an exam and the goal was to get 100 out of 100, they would not get there, right? So best practices for finance people as well are to really trust them. Now, I think one other thing that I've noticed is that most people don't understand what finance and HR do because they've never worked in those functions, right? HR we've already talked about, but for finance, there's really three things, right? There's making sure there's enough money in the company. There's making sure that the cash flow that we are accounting for is being counted out properly. And thirdly, that we are compliant and we are in the bounds of whatever is considered code for decent, good accounting, financial management practices. Very straightforward to do, right? Except you have to work with other human beings in other departments, in other teams, in other groups, in other geographies. And to do your model, to make your model work, to make sure that you have all those three things that I talked about, you have to get data from them. If I have data that says I'm really behind on my sales numbers, you're going to need to do a lot of pulling to get that data out of me, right? If I have data that says I've been spending over my budget, as a finance person, you're going to really need to kind of like tug it out of people. Versus if I'm like way under budget, I'm way over quota, I'm probably sending it in like even before it's being asked for, right? Just human nature. So for a finance person, the hardest thing to do is to get good data to be able to do decent prediction and forecasting on what the next quarter or next year looks like. So what they're doing all the time, every finance person does this, they send out a spreadsheet. They're like, here's a spreadsheet, please fill it out by so-and-so end of day Friday. And then half the people fill it out, half the people don't. Then they go to the CEO. CEO kind of sternly reminds people that they have to fill this stuff out. And one of the finance people said this to me, so I'm just going to repeat it. They're like a glorified gopher at times, right? Because all they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, give me data, give me data, give me data, right? If only there was a magical way for them to get what they wanted instantly and on time without having to really stand at people's desks and kind of make a bunch of ruckus. Because finance people don't like doing that, right? They don't like being the bad, nobody likes being the bad guy, right? But if they don't do their job and the company runs out of money, then everybody's going to be like, well, what was the finance person doing? You know, why weren't they collecting the right information from the right people? So that is the least desirable part of their job. The forecasting, compliance, cash flow, anything that involves like just doing Excel number crunching, they're usually amazing at, like very good at. They can look at all the different scenarios and make sense of them. Again, when it comes to other people, right? You now have department heads in every department that all want to have their own version of what every scenario looks like. So a lot of their time, again, is spent trying to figure out if Sachit wants to run this new project, what is the actual dollars cost of this project, right? Because Sachin will write a memo or make a slide deck or whatever. And in between, he'll have some bullet points here and there to be like, oh, we need 12 people here and 4 people here and small office here. So their job is to take everything that they get, both verbal and written, and convert it into a spreadsheet of cash outflows, right? So if you look at the hiring perspective, what's happening is everybody's going to the CEO and saying, hey, I want to build a new team to do AI or generative AI. And the CEO is like, okay, well, cool. Talk to finance or let me know what you think. Now, the finance person has to figure out what the cost of this thing is, not just salaries, but taxes, benefits, laptops, office space, employment insurance, equipment, whatnot. That takes a lot of time to do because you have to make a lot of assumptions about what somebody's thinking about. And usually you have to assume the worst case, because if you assume the best case and the worst case happens, then people are like, well, why didn't you think about this? For finance people, if there's a way for them to kind of have a Google Translate kind of function where people can come to them, I mean virtually, and say, I want to have this, and this thing kind of just translates into a spreadsheet that they can be like, oh, I understand what you want to do, but we don't have the budget for it, right? That's really like a core problem for them. And it works in two ways, right? It works on the data collection. When they come in and say, I want to do this stuff, and the finance says, okay, then you can track whether it's happening. Or when they come into you and say, hey, I want to do this stuff, and you can look at it and say, hey, this is totally outside our budget. So unless we, I don't know, where to IPO or something, get a lot of money, this is not really happening right now. Finance people like to reduce everything down to spreadsheets, which is a good thing. It used to really bother me in business school because every finance person there would like wouldn't be able to get out of their spreadsheet. But that's their superpower, right? So they what they need is good inputs that can translate into their spreadsheets. They like our product a lot because it does that for them. And I think what most FP&A tools don't understand is that finance people love their spreadsheets. So taking spreadsheets away from them in favor of some shiny SaaS product is a bad idea. And I think we understand that. I think a few FP&A tools starting to get it too. But yeah, finance people like their spreadsheets, so give them their spreadsheets. I don't know what the big deal is.